Hello and welcome to the first video of the Artificially Consulting channel. We will be discussing WSL environments, AI models, and how to install Docker containers inside of the WSL. So to get us started, let's start with what is WSL? So WSL is Windows Subsystem for Linux. It is a way for you to talk to and have Linux installed without installing a second installation of a boot drive. Now, what does that mean for you? If you like using Linux, that's great. I think Linux is a little bit easier to use than Microsoft. I'll show you why as we go through the rest of the video. Now, I won't be explaining how to install WSL on your computer. You will have to do that yourself. I will link a video down below that will explain how to do that if you do not already know. Now, if this gets popular enough, I'll explain how I did it, but there are tons of those videos out there. However, there are not that many. In fact, there are almost none that explain the process of downloading Ubuntu, and then from that, going and installing Docker and allowing it to run AI models. So the issue I was running into was finding something that allows the container to talk to my GPU. So let's get started. What I'm going to do is I'm first going to explain why Docker containers. Now, for me, I like using Docker containers because it allows for the addition or opening up of images. Now, what does that mean? You will have an image, which is like a frozen piece of time in which your machine was created. So essentially, I install a bunch of dependencies for different models. I have 3 images on my computer currently. The first one is for pictures. So it has all of the diffusion and most of the other dependencies for diffusion that you need. The second one is for text. So the text model allows me to go in and use most text AI generation. And then the third one is for auto train. I made a separate one, but you'll be able to train AI. That is for a much later video. But today we'll be discussing Docker containers. So let's go ahead and get started. Now, what you'll need to do is you'll need to verify that WSL2 is on your computer. And let me switch over to my other camera and make sure you can see the video. And then we'll start that. Welcome back. Okay, so let's get into it. What we're going to do is we're going to open up Terminal. I don't know how you do this, but I normally search Terminal and you'll find Windows PowerShell. And that's what we'll be working in right here. Now, ignore the background. I had to chop some of the bottom off, but it's going to be nice and pretty in the back. So first steps first, we're going to check for the WSL environment. So type in WSL LV. You'll see that in here I have Ubuntu 22.04, which is my primary one that I use. I'm going to be installing another one for the sake of this video. I have it on state stopped, which means it's not running, and version 2. Now version 2 means that it's WSL2, and that's what you will need for this to work. So make sure that your distribution is on WSL2. The video below should be able to help. And now that we are done, we're going to write WSL. And it's already installed on my computer because I have the distro. I just unmounted it. So then it'll work through installing itself. I'm going to put pat and I'm going to make super secure password. And it's going to finish what it's doing, loading, installation. There we are. And you will see this is still Ubuntu. So then we will exit, clear. Okay, now we're going to check one more time and go WSL LV There are now two instances. Ubuntu version 2 running is the one that we are going to work in. So what you'll do is go WSL that will stop all of them. I'm going to clear one more time. Now, give me 1 second to come over here. We are going to grab the Ubuntu application. Oh, wrong one. There we are. Okay, now that we have this, I'm in administrator mode. Okay, now we're going to do ls is an empty folder. For this installation, I want to use a program called VS Code. It is the easiest way for me to explain things and do them, and it just makes it really easy to edit code inside of your WSL system. So to do that, ready for the most complicated part, we're going to go code, period, enter. So if it's your first time running this command, you are going to see a pop-up that says, do you want to allow VS Code? That's assuming you have VS Code installed. I'll also put that in the link below. It'll say, do you want to use VS Code? Now, when I hit this, a window is going to pop up here and say, hey, here's Visual Code, create a shell script. So this is a shell script that is runnable. And I'm just going to copy all of the stuff from so that's in the section below and add it in here. And then I'll explain this real quick. And then at the end, I'll run it, and that'll be the end of this video. From there, I will go into setting up Docker containers and images in the next video. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and save this. There it is. So if we go back to here, type ls, you will see it. It is not runnable yet. I'll show you how to do that before the next video, and then all you'll have to do is run it and you'll have everything set up. So let's go into here. Essentially, this is just a series of commands that you're going to run for the system. So this is the NVIDIA CUDA Toolkit 12.3. I'm using a 3080 Ti RTX model graphics card. It does allow this. If you need something a little bit lower, let's say you have an older one, you might need a lesser version of the CUDA toolkit. But essentially all of this is the commands off of NVIDIA's website, and you'll go into there, run those one by one if you'd like. I'm not going to do that for the sake of time, but essentially you would run wget that, then you would run this command and that command and that command in that order. That is what a shell script does for you, and it's the way that I know that'll do this all for you. Next, you have to install and configure the NVIDIA Container Toolkit. Now, that allows the Docker containers to talk to your NVIDIA graphics card. This will set it up so that you can talk with it and use your GPU in your Linux environment inside of the Docker containers. So all of that is a way to do that. This is also from the website. It'll change a couple things and add them. Now, for this part, we're going to configure the system for Docker. So apt-get update updates the installation software. You're going to get this, and then you're going to download and install that, and then that command and this command. Again, you can do it one by one. I prefer. Adding the repository to the apt sources, you're going to do / and then it'll make all of this stuff come up in your apt-get install. That way, when you run this command, it has all of everything that it needs, and it just downloads Docker. Next, we're going to configure the Docker runtime. I know I'm going really fast, but it's not too complicated because this should all be done, but you run one by one. Again, you can do it in order. This configures the runtime to allow Docker to use runtime. This allows the container to do runtime, and you'll see in the next one the runtime we're going to use is NVIDIA. And then I don't really know what this does, but I know it doesn't work without it. And it was on one of the websites. I believe this is on NVIDIA Toolkit Container Setup. But you have to do this as well. And then once you do that, I add this step. So essentially I add the current user that is on here to the Docker. That way I have the ability for whatever user I'm installing as, usually root, or I create a user. And then this is for images. So this is an optional step. I did this one because one of mine will do, so GIMP is a way to view images. So my image creation AI models have to use this software, and it has to be installed in this for it to work properly. But you can still use it in the container as root. And then last but not least, we did it, boys. That will show up after. So let me just go ahead and save that one more time, and we will go back over to, okay, so we'll go back into here and we will type chmod plus x, and then we'll do okay. It is green now, so that's excellent. I'm not sure if it'll be green for everyone, but when mine become executable, and then you just go, oh goodness, I can't use my own files. Startup script.sh and super secure password. Now we will wait, and okay, we made it almost all the way through, but I have to add this, so that will allow you guys to not have to wait. I'll copy and paste and make sure this one is the one you use. Essentially, that will stop it from doing this. Now, if you did not have all of the /y stuff that I have here, it would ask you every single time this question: would you like to continue? And you would have to click Y every single time. So, yes. Okay. I'm going to pause one more time, and we're going to see this when it finishes. Wait, actually, there we go. Okay. Nice and easy. We did it, boys. Now, ls, you'll see this file. That file is for the repository for CUDA. I like to do making, and then cd code. So this is where I do all of my stuff inside of my Docker container. That way I can click code dot in here, and it will once again open up this folder, and I can use VS Code. That will also mean that the startup script and the CUDA repository are somewhere else. So if for whatever reason I accidentally make some changes to this that I don't like, I don't have to restart everything. So that's it. That will be everything. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I'm probably going to do very soon the next step where you can go in here and start using Docker containers. I want to make sure that everyone understands this. And please let me know if there are any questions about this in the comments below. And I will have all of those files and the VS Code link down there. Thanks so much. See you next time. Oh wait, remember, like and subscribe somewhere. I think it's down here.